So my role has changed subtly. I'm no longer the cabinet member for Deep Breath, Social Regeneration, Great Estates and New Council Homes. I asked for a slightly shorter job title and I'm now the cabinet member for Housing. So that covers still the council's New Homes programme, as well as housing services, major works, the wider housing investment piece, allocations, as well as things like empty homes, private rented sector, some aspects of temporary accommodation. I'm working with Councillor Helen Dennis on homelessness services as well, in addition to new responsibilities around moorings and marinas. So some responsibilities around the river as well. So just looking at some of the openings that we might have on house building. And in terms of my priorities, my wish list for the borough, it's a very long one, but at the very top level, it's really just to meet the housing needs of our borough. So that means moving in every way possible towards providing high quality, genuinely secure, genuinely affordable, safe, sustainable housing for all our residents in all tenures, in all circumstances, backgrounds and incomes. So that's really just attacking every dimension of the housing crisis that we have today. In terms of our own stock, the most fundamental piece really is to get the basics of good shelter right. So that's properly reliable, affordable, sustainable heating and hot water. Always difficult when you've got aging boilers and a big heat replacement program to introduce. Simple shelter from the elements, so safety from harm. And also just to move on to an agenda where we're really looking to establish a properly balanced and rounded estate experience. So what we call the Great Estates programme, we mean working closely with residents to improve the look and feel and lived experience of our estates through soft improvement projects, through all kind of major works interventions, and obviously through new build expansions, extensions of existing estates. And the aspiration is to move to a situation where our estates are properly prized spaces in the city. They're a great 20th century legacy. They're not celebrated enough. They are pilloried too much. And I think they created the foundations for so much of what's great about London, the mixed communities, the diverse, varied, much more interesting neighbourhoods. They've enabled equality of opportunity and people of different incomes and backgrounds to live side by side. So that's a core part of my wish list. It's to raise the standards of our housing stock in all tenures and to create really great neighbourhoods that promote the health and well-being of our residents.
Can you give us a little bit of the sort of statistical background for that? So what are the numbers we're talking about? How much stock does Southwark have?
So we have, we're by some distance the largest council landlord in London. We have 55,000 homes under our management. Around 38,000 of them are tenanted. The backdrop to that is that we've got a housing waiting list that's growing and growing. There's over 14,000 households on that now. That's really shot up in the last few months as a result of the uncertainty people have with their incomes, the pandemic. Homelessness presentations have shot up as well. We've got over 3,000 families growing up and children growing up in temporary accommodation in our borough at the minute. So we need to be tackling the housing supply, particularly the affordable housing supply challenge in every way we can.
And what's the sort of building programme that's underway in Southwark? How are you meeting your targets?
So I think pretty good. It got off to a tricky start a few years ago when we began our generational programme back in 2013 to build 11,000 council homes within 30 years, mainly because we were starting from a standing start. But particularly in the last 2 years, we've built up that development team. There's over 40 new staff now working on all kinds of different trades and disciplines within development. And to date, we've had a target to make sure we've either delivered or on site for 2,500 of those 11,000 by 2022. And in spite of the huge delays that the lockdown measures have imposed on our programme, we're looking to exceed that and get to over 3,000 by 2022, hopefully a bit more than that as well. But the key bit beyond that is to develop the pipeline, create a strategic land bank of new sites, develop all the different frontiers of new council house building that we're trying to do, to really take that target seriously. People think it's a little bit bonkers, but actually as a stretch target, it's something that enables the council to mobilise organisationally around in a really strong way, and it also helps develop the partnerships with different landowners and community groups to make it possible. So I can see that pipeline developing. We're certainly getting there.
Thank you very much, Councillor, for answering our questions today. Viewers, if you'd like to see more of this interview, it's posted in 7 parts over 7 days at thevoiceofauthority.co.uk. The Voice of Authority presents the ambitions, the challenges, the values, the drivers, the motivations and the influences of key people at councils in their own words. This is where you find out what matters most to top people at the councils you want to do business with. The Voice of Authority is one of the channels created by 3Fox, the marketing agency for councils, to keep our network of councils, developers, investors and their advisors and influencers connected. Find out more about our channels and opportunities to participate in webinars, in interviews and other campaigns at www.3fox.co.uk.